Hey there, I have a new topic. One of the former members of the regiment, in this case, the Royal Regiment of Scotland, has brought me a British Army issue kilt, which he wishes me to alter to fit him. Now, this is great because I've never had a chance to examine a contemporary issue kilt. Um, because my experience with British Army kilts is considerably out of, well, I won't say it's out of date, but the standards have changed. So I'm going to be talking with him on the phone tomorrow. So I'm going to post this video so he can look at it, so we can be looking at the images while we're talking. Because I can't remember our entire conversation, and apparently my notes weren't very good enough. So I'm going to be shortening this, and it's rather too big for him. And I have to assume that he picked this up on the way out, and this was never his actual issue kilt, because this is, by my standards, is quite a bit too long. And I should add that the difference between my measuring system and seems like everyone else on the planet is, you've seen my video on how to use my measuring process where we measure at the natural waist. Well, I measure at that point. That's the top of the kilt for me. And then I go down about 2.5 inches. And then that's where I put the strap and buckle. The older method, or the other method, is to measure at the natural waist and then put the strap and buckle there, and then add a couple of inches of what they call the rise above that. And that makes sense for an army kilt, particularly in the past when you were wearing the kilt with your full combat gear. Because if the kilt is high enough, it does a couple of things. It keeps your lower back warm, and it's the top of the kilt under the tunic is high enough that the waist belt that's holding your ammunition pouches, and we're really talking about the pattern 08, the First World War webbing pattern. The top of the kilt is high enough that as you move around, it's not going to slip out from underneath the waist belt. However, we don't wear webbing with kilts in the field at all anymore. So that's one of the things I'm going to ask him, is because some people get used to a certain way. You're used to always having a kilt way the hell up. I could ask him, do you really want to continue doing that? Or can you go with my method, which invariably people say is considered to be more comfortable? So we're going to have that discussion about lowering the top. This I consider, I'm learning a bunch of things already. I don't like and part of this is just personal taste, but the tabs for the buckles are riveted and sewn. That's going to end. I'm going to make my usual cloth tabs. These are plated metal, and they look very attractive, but this one's improperly placed. See where the buttonhole is, and see where the edge of the buckle is. This is over 1/2 inch too far forward. You're simply not going to be able to tighten the kilt up. This needs to be brought back. This leading edge here should be back about here. So this is easily 1 inch too far forward. That's going to change. I'm going to talk to him about whether he really wants that lower strap and buckle on the right side, because as I believe I've mentioned elsewhere, this is a vestigial, how do you pronounce it? Hangover. It's like an appendix. It doesn't really do anything. The other things, and I've railed about this before, and many times, is this kilt the inner apron doesn't have a hidden pleat. The apron just runs out from the last pleat. I don't like that. I don't consider it a good way to make kilts, because it's an economy measure and from the people that are making the kilt, but the kilt doesn't hang as well, it doesn't drape as well. So one possible solution there is to rob a pleat from either side, which gives us at least some hidden pleat on that right hip. There's a hidden pleat on the outer apron. It's not terribly deep, but it's there. So if we can go according to plan, I would be reducing this in height. We never reduce from the bottom. And it just occurred to me that I'm also answering a question posed a little while ago about a fellow wants to alter his own kilt, is that we can adjust a kilt for height plus or minus, I'm going to say up to a couple of inches. And we can do that by moving the straps and buckles, because the strap and buckle stays constant relative to the natural waist. So if we move a strap and buckle down, we're lifting the kilt up. If we bring the strap and buckle up towards the top of the kilt, we're lengthening the kilt. And again, we have maybe up to a couple of inches, certainly an inch and a half. If we have an alteration that requires greater than that, in this case, we're going to be shortening the kilt by some 5 inches. No, then we take out the lining, we take out the canvas, and reduce the kilt to the height, new buttonhole, new canvas, new lining. And incidentally, this is going to be interesting too, because I'll keep you posted as we go through this, because I see there's canvas in here, but it's encapsulated within the lining. I don't quite understand that. It could be just a production feature, and I'm not going to say it's wrong. It's just something I haven't seen before. So we're going to pull this lining out and see what the canvas is, because we need a new canvas in any case, because the canvas is exactly going to be written out of the script here if I reduce it that much. So lining out, new canvas, new lining, top bend will be able to be recycled, possibly rob at least one pleat on either side to give us that extra material for a hidden pleat on either side. And I'm also going to look at the relative proportions between the width of the apron and the width of the pleats, because in a military kilt, we want it more than 50-50. We want the apron to be slightly, the proportion of the apron to be greater than 50% of the circumference of the waist and the hip. So there we go. So I'll post this. I'll invite my client to take a look at it so that tomorrow afternoon or evening when he gets into town, because he's about 1,000 miles away from here right now, that we can have a conversation by phone so that we're absolutely on net to make sure that even though I'm behaving acting in good faith, we're also not managing, but we're also meeting his expectations about what he's going to get out of that. So I hope that was coherent. In any case, I'm quite looking forward to learning what I can from this piece, and we'll report back to you later. Cheers.